Introduction to the desolation under the prosperity. How many scenes can be like the same outside and inside under the prosperity? The origin of the story. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Let's just consider this as a preface. The author himself is a practitioner from the supermarket industry, and to put it bluntly, he is in the supermarket industry. I have been in this industry since 2010 and have been continuing to learn and work in it ever since. Over a decade of work experience has taught me many secrets and insider information about the supermarket industry. Of course, there must be both good and bad in these secrets and insider information. After all, there are some unknown secrets hidden in any industry nowadays. There is an old saying that goes, "Love your line." But I think in today's society, this sentence may need to be changed to, "Do what you know." This may be more appropriate. Because there are many industry insider information that only industry insiders or industry insiders will understand and learn about. I have watched many workplace and commercial dramas on TV, so I have an idea to write about the workplace story I am in. Because it is a workplace story that is different from other industries, this idea has been brewing in my heart for many years since its inception. For someone like me who has been in the retail industry for over a decade, I have had a deep cultivation in this circle or industry, and I have also benefited from the peak moments of this industry. During this period, I experienced the darkest moments of being squeezed, despised, assimilated, roast, routine, and involved. But at the same time, there are also shining moments of setting game rules, industry rules, and routines. Strictly speaking, the retail industry in shopping malls is actually different from the traditional workplace today. Because it is not as exciting and upscale as those white-collar dramas in the workplace that are currently being performed on TV. Because in reality, it can even be more exciting, darker, and more thrilling than those plot adaptations. Speaking of which, some people will definitely question what kind of story a supermarket owner can have. Isn't it just adding and moving goods? How can we compare to those white-collar elites in office buildings, wearing suits and ties, typing on keyboards, making tables and PPTs all day, and then blowing air conditioning and drinking coffee and afternoon tea in spacious and luxurious offices? Since that's the point, it's necessary for me to talk about the working characteristics of the retail industry in the store. Who said that this industry only needs to add and move goods? Some inconspicuous low-level managers have tens of millions or even billions of dollars in annual turnover and goods in and out of their hands. This is just the size of one store. What if it's a national chain? Below, let me first talk about the personnel configuration of a typical store. Firstly, the frontline positions in the supermarket are the frontline tallyman who constantly adds and sells goods in the store, as well as the cashier who stands at the cashier to collect money and the service personnel who handle customer complaints at the service desk. Secondly, in order to ensure the daily operation of the supermarket, there are professional IT personnel in the back end who hide in the office every day to maintain and repair servers, specifically serving the HR department of employees, the financial personnel responsible for verifying the store's financial statements and cash settlements, as well as the receiving personnel and security personnel responsible for all incoming and outgoing goods in the store every day. Of course, there is now a new retail department in the back end that is specifically responsible for online orders and delivery. These people generally do not appear in the service personnel sequence of the store serving customers, because they only serve the entire store. Thirdly, the number of selected products in a large store with an area of around 10,000 square meters generally exceeds 1,000,000, and a large number of products will be sold out every day. This requires a large number of management personnel in the store to check the sales data in the background every day, and then there should be a timely follow-up replenishment and ordering process. In the retail industry, there is a saying that only with goods can there be sales. Because only in this way can a store maintain normal daily sales and some normal business activities, and bring continuous profits and performance to the supermarket. So these managers are a group of people responsible for store performance, and they rarely appear in the sequence of store service personnel. Fourthly, all products sold in supermarkets are not just delivered and put on sale casually. Before entering, it is necessary to pass the qualification inspection and product inspection of the procurement supplier before entering the procurement selection sequence. In the future, it is necessary to sign a cooperation contract to obtain the supply qualification before entering the supermarket shelves for sale. So, the composition of a supermarket is a large collective composed of frontline service personnel, store management personnel, store logistics service personnel, product selection and procurement, and product suppliers. Supermarkets can also be divided into many types, with 100 to 300 square meters being called convenience stores, 300 to 800 square meters being called community stores, 800 to 1,500 square meters being called boutique stores, 1,500 to 3,000 square meters being called small supermarkets, 3,000 to 6,000 square meters being called medium-sized supermarkets, 7,000 to 10,000 square meters being called hypermarkets, and those above 10,000 square meters collectively referred to as large shopping centers. Convenience stores mainly focus on packaged food and standard articles of general merchandise, small household appliances, and some cigarettes, alcohol and snacks, such as Kanto boiled, tea egg. Community stores will have more packaged fruits and vegetables and packaged goods than convenience stores, as well as more department stores and small appliances selected. UU reading www.uukangshu.net. There will be more categories in small supermarkets, and fresh food will not only include packaged fruits and vegetables, but some may even sell fish and cooked food products. The fresh product categories in medium-sized supermarkets will generally be on par with those in large supermarkets, and the selection of standard products will become more diversified. The standard product categories in hypermarkets will be more comprehensive and diverse, and the products for on-site processing of fresh produce will also become more diverse, such as pork segmentation, live killing of aquatic products, and freshly cooked food, etc. Of course, there are still fresh supermarkets specializing in the sale of fresh products, and standard categories have become supplementary and main fresh categories. The area of these stores is basically around 500 to 800 square meters, and there are rarely more than 1,000 square meters of stores, because the shelf life and freshness of fresh products do not allow the store area to be too large. The composition of these characteristics is actually due to the special nature of fresh products, which means that all products can only be sold quickly. This can also help reduce the inventory pressure of stores and avoid loss and waste. In short, as a member of the retail industry, this circle is still very exciting, with different positions and job responsibilities. The entire retail circle is a microcosm of society, where there are many people of all kinds and various events happening. Interested readers can read this book and let me slowly analyze and tell you a different workplace story. There are rivers and lakes, human relationships, and of course, insider information. I will tell this story in reverse order, and the first few chapters will go back in time. I will briefly cover a small part that is not related to retail, without going into too much detail. We will gradually return to the main line of the retail industry in the future. Finally, this story is purely fictional and involves the content, title, characters, etc. of the book. Do not take it for granted. The Gear of Destiny. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Today is December 30th, 2022, and there are only 17 days left until the Spring Festival in 2023. It has been 1 year, 2 months, and 9 days since Roger joined the Elephant Y Club of the Elephant Business Unit of Lilly Group. Today should be a special day for Roger, as the 5th manager of the Elephant Y Club where he is located will officially be on duty today. As the only deputy manager of the store, he needs to welcome her as soon as possible and hand over some of the manager's daily work affairs with her. Because before the new manager arrives, he has been acting as the manager of this store for a whole month. Roger is 40 years old, with an average appearance and short to medium hair. He is accustomed to using gel water to comb his hair into a back shape, exposing the 3 raised hairlines on his forehead clearly in front of people's eyes. His face is shaped like a goose egg, with a wide top and a round bottom, and a slightly double chin. His overall facial features are quite regular, with almond eyes and a low nose bridge. He wears a pair of low but high astigmatism semi-black framed myopia glasses all year round, weighing 85 kilograms. This weight is a bit intriguing. 85 kilograms is equivalent to 170 kilograms, and for him, who is only 1.72 meters tall, this weight is already among the overweight people. Looking at the whole, he is a very ordinary general worker with an ordinary appearance, and physique. There are plenty of people like him in an international metropolis like Shanghai. The headquarters of Lily Group is located in Hangzhou, and the Elephant Y Club, a subsidiary of Rogers Elephant Business Unit, is located in Shanghai. This Y Club is the fourth store opened by the Elephant Business Unit in China, and two of the other three are also located in Shanghai, while the other one is far away in the capital Beijing. According to his current position, strictly speaking, he cannot be considered a member of the Lily Group because the Elephant Business Unit was kicked out of the group's business group a year ago and then downgraded to a sub-business unit under another business group of the Lily Group. With the restructuring of the group in 2022, the senior management once again saw the potential of Elephant Fresh and elevated it to a separate financing-oriented business unit, preparing for future listings. Speaking of Lily Group, it was also a pioneer in domestic e-commerce at that time. Its leading e-commerce platform pioneered online shopping in China, truly realizing people's desire to use exclusive apps to place orders online without leaving their homes. The subsequent services are even more considerate, and even fresh produce products can be purchased directly online. The online shopping trend it led was indeed popular throughout the country. The huge success online has led the group leaders to focus on the huge cake of the offline retail industry. Soon after, an Elephant Business Unit under the group, which operates offline, was officially established in a 6-story office building in the old urban area of Shanghai in 2017. The logistics director from another e-commerce giant led by electronics and logistics, became the first CEO of the company and began the legendary story of Lily Group's Elephant Fresh. In the year when the Elephant Business Unit was established, the first offline physical retail store for Elephant Fresh products was opened in Shanghai, marking the official entry of Lily Group into the track of offline physical retail stores. The business feature of Elephant Fresh is mainly based on fresh seafood as the entry point, combined with on-site slaughter and on-site cooking methods according to customer requirements to attract a large number of offline consumers. The on-site service is also equipped with on-site dine-in service, allowing customers who come to the mall to enjoy fresh and delicious seafood without leaving the store, truly achieving home service. This new type of offline retail store model has completely broken the traditional sales method of only selling on-site without providing an experience, narrowed the communication distance between sellers and buyers, and increased the freshness and shopping experience of customers. It has to be said that in that era, this created a new future and template for offline retail models. So while Elephant Fresh has changed the traditional model, it has also led the entire Elephant Fresh into a phase of rapid development, beginning a frenzy of opening stores and experimenting with various new retail methods. And Rogers Elephant Business Unit Elephant Y membership store was officially established in 2020, which is also the latest physical retail business model created by the Elephant Business Unit, imitating the American membership store, with online and offline members as the main customers. But for Roger, these actually have little impact or relationship with him. He may not even be considered a minor employee of the group, even in the Elephant Business Group, he is just a low-level frontline employee, struggling hard in a high-consumption city like Shanghai with meager and occasionally deducted performance every month. What he needs to do every day now is to ensure that his work is not wrong, and to maintain the daily operating profit and net operating performance of the store. As for ordering and selecting products, it has nothing to do with him. However, he has to manage the sales, on-site management, inventory, and communication with functional departments at Elephant headquarters. Then, it is necessary to occasionally organize a review meeting with department heads and employee representatives to summarize the daily or weekly store operations, and finally compile them into daily, weekly, and monthly reports for feedback to headquarters leaders. Of course, there is also timely response to sudden and covert visits from headquarters leaders, as well as supervision, inspection, execution, and feedback from government departments at all levels in the area where the store belongs. And these are all important factors that can have a fatal impact on his career. In short, this job may seem simple, but in fact, the daily workload is quite complex, and these are not tasks that can be solved and completed just by sitting in the office and looking at computer data, so there are not many people who can truly do it well. After all, this type of position requires managers to have a high level of emotional intelligence, a keen business vision, and a high-speed rotating mind to work together, because there are really many data and miscellaneous matters that need to be paid attention to and are being paid attention to every day. Moreover, with the unique HR political commissar culture of Lilly Group, those who are idle in the office every day and can cause trouble will be infinitely magnified by them if they catch any small mistakes, because only in this way can the company value of their non-business output group be reflected. Therefore, many people can only leave with ruthlessness or be forced to be eliminated in the end. These are all unacceptable for Roger, firstly, because it's really not easy for him to switch to a new job at his age. Secondly, there is no mention of being eliminated in his dictionary, he can only take the initiative to eliminate others. Roger, this person. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Winter is always particularly unbearable for people living in the south. The whirring northwest wind is like a blade that can directly penetrate thick clothes, piercing their bodies and making them cold all over. Roger, who was renting a single apartment in Jiading New City, Shanghai, was looking out through the panoramic glass sliding door on his balcony at the swaying branches of the big trees and the gray, sunless sky outside. He sat under a warm blanket and sighed, alas. It's a cold day again. He silently guessed in his heart, picked up his phone next to his pillow, opened the screensaver, and glanced at the weather forecast on his phone, which showed that the outdoor temperature in Shanghai today is around -5 to 0 degrees Celsius, accompanied by a northwest wind of 3 to 4 levels. The winter wind is like a bone-scraping knife. He threw his phone back to his pillow, muttered to himself, then shook his head, which had not fully awakened, and woke up with a face full of helplessness. As a professional worker, he wakes up at 7 a.m. every morning, followed by toiletries and breakfast. He then leaves at 8 a.m. on time, and finally drives or takes the subway to a work location about 20 kilometers away, which takes about an hour to clock in on time. Roger's hometown comes from a small county town along the coast of Jiangsu province. His ancestors and parents are both farmers, but his father was a high school graduate from the third year of high school. As for why his father has a high school diploma but is still a farmer, he has also asked himself, but has never received a positive answer from his father. Roger's academic performance was not very good from a young age. In order to learn this, he has been beaten since childhood. Now, his family still retains a wide-backed wooden ruler, which is the tool he used to accept his parents' family rules from a young age. After finishing junior high school, his father found his high school classmate and current high school principal to open a backdoor for him. He entered the supposedly provincial Key High School with a grade of over 100. After finishing high school, he reluctantly went to a private university, and at least managed to get a bachelor's degree in the end. In the 2000s, whether it was a private or public university diploma, the value of it was quite high. At least during his college years, he never fell in love and has been studying diligently. In 2005, after graduating from university, Roger faced his first career choice in his life. Because his internship in his senior year was at the state-owned restaurant where his third uncle lived in Nanjing, he returned to that restaurant as a chef under repeated pressure from his father after graduation. The profession of a chef, in his father's words, is a great job that guarantees harvests in times of drought and flood, and never dies of hunger in times of famine. But the good times didn't last long. State-owned enterprises switched to private contracted enterprises, and his third uncle developed a hot temper in a state-owned restaurant, making him the first laid-off employee to be bought out of service. As a result, Roger also completed his first career in life and was laid off with his third uncle. After being laid off, he did not continue to stay in Nanjing, but resolutely returned to the rural area of his hometown small county town. Roger doesn't have many hobbies because during his middle school years, his physical development left many indelible acne scars and pits on his face, which also made his personality somewhat fearful and insecure. Therefore, his hobbies tend to focus more on niche activities, such as quietly reading books alone or watching TV alone at home. After middle school, whenever there are activities with many people, he can push them and basically won't participate. After losing his promising culinary job, Roger returned to his hometown and countryside for over 3 months. During this time, he also tried to find a job, but what decent job was there in the backward small county town? Slowly, he also began to give up. In current terms, he was lying flat at home. In the 2000s, if there were young men in their 20s in rural areas who didn't work to earn money, were single, and still gnawed on their old age at home every day, you would immediately become the news focus of those gossipy women in the village after dinner, and in severe cases, it could even affect the reputation of your entire family in the village. Slowly, he also realized that if he stayed in his hometown's rural area again, he might not even have the courage to leave his home. He resolutely left his rural hometown and moved to the new 3-bedroom house that his parents had bought for him to marry in the small county town of his hometown. He once again started living alone. But people always have to eat when they live. Those who used to eat at their parents in their rural hometown unknowingly, now they are living alone and don't have much money. In just 2 days, they are about to start running out of food. At this point, he had to face a decision again. If he went back to the countryside to ask his parents for money, he would feel embarrassed, because every time he saw his parents with sparse white hair on their heads, he felt very uncomfortable in his heart, let alone asking for money again. But life still had to go on. Helpless, he had to go out and find some odd jobs in restaurants to start working. After about 2 more months, he happened to meet his middle school classmate Huang Hua on the street, whom he had not seen for many years. Their relationship was good at that time, but they had cut off contact since he went to college. After the two met, they found a small restaurant that night, ordered a few dishes and a few bottles of beer, and then they reminisced about the interesting things that happened in school from middle school until their graduation. Wine goes deep into the depths. Find the book Garden www.zhaosuiyuan.com, the feeling is strong. As he drank and chatted, he naturally talked about his own lives and current situation. He was pleasantly surprised to find that Huang Hua had been working as a chef since graduating from junior high school, and now he has become a well-known master in this small county town. This discovery surprised Roger a lot. Anyway, he has also learned and worked as a chef himself. Although he is only doing odd jobs in restaurants and has not continued to do so, how could he forget the basic theoretical knowledge of a chef? So the two of them suddenly had a common topic again, from cuisine to recipes, from Chinese cuisine to Western cuisine. The more they talked, the more they became in sync. In the end, they quickly reconciled and decided to open a restaurant together. His idea and behavior were already quite advanced back then. For his parents, having a stable job and income during that era was the ideal and attitude he should have at his age. If you are too obsessed with the idea of starting a business or getting rich overnight, then you are definitely a rebellious and restless young person. So when he mentioned his idea to his parents, he unexpectedly received strong opposition and harsh criticism from his parents and all his relatives and friends. But after several days and nights of reflection, he finally firmly established his entrepreneurial idea. So he secretly took out the 3 certificates of the house in the county town from his home and ran to the bank to mortgage a loan of 200,000 yuan. Then he and his junior high school classmates invested nearly 400,000 yuan in total. On a misty morning, they opened the restaurant called Rongcheng. On the opening day, the store was unusually lively and bustling, and business was surprisingly good, but his parents hid at the street corner not far from the restaurant and stared blankly all day. The First Bucket of Gold. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. The Rongqing Hotel, which is jointly owned by Roger and Huang Hua, has a total area of about 500 square meters and is divided into 2 floors. The downstairs is mainly a 4-seater restaurant for individual guests, with a total of 6 dining tables for 6-seaters and 10-seaters. The upstairs has 8 private rooms for 10-seaters. The entire store has a total of 14 dining tables. Before opening the restaurant, Roger and Huang Hua had already established a clear division of labor. Roger, as the general manager of the restaurant, managed the front hall and procurement work, while Huang Hua, as the head chef of the restaurant, managed the entire kitchen, menu, and hygiene work. Excluding Roger and Huang Hua, the entire store has hired 3 chefs, 6 front desk staff, and 3 office workers. It has to be said that the location of their store is still very good. It is adjacent to the People's Hospital in this small county town in the front and a National Key High School in the back, with a relatively large foot traffic in daily life. Although the small county where they are located is mainly focused on the development of labor export in the construction industry, this means that nearly 80% of men usually work in other places and only come back once a year. But it also has another industry, which is the largest household textile production and sales base in the country, which provides many good employment opportunities for all women who stay behind and also brings a considerable number of migrant workers. In short, although this small county town is small and most of its population is out of town, it is not poor and does not lack foot traffic. There are not many restaurants in small county towns, and there are even fewer unique ones. When Rongqing Hotel opened, Roger happened to be facing the flourishing period of the entire catering market. So they don't lack business at all, their daily visitors and performance have always been stable. By the end of 2006, their first investment of a full 400,000 yuan had already been fully recovered. At that time, computers were not yet widespread, and manual billing was still used for bookkeeping. That night, Roger waited until all the guests had left and pulled in Huang Hua. The 2 of them finally checked the accounts in the innermost private room upstairs. After nearly a year of operation, the net operating income after deducting daily expenses, water, electricity, coal, personnel salaries, hotel rent, and procurement costs is 458,968 yuan. Roger excitedly held up his electronic calculator and looked at Huang Hua. Huang Hua, who is also born in the 1980s, is 2 years older than Roger. The success of Rongqing Hotel is also due to his joining and the customer base he brings, which makes him famous overnight. Excluding our previous investment of 400,000 yuan, we can still have a surplus of 58,000 yuan. This 58,000 yuan can guarantee our 10-day procurement expenses during the Chinese New Year, so we can now get back all the investment funds. All future profits will be our net profits. Roger continued excitedly. Huang Hua was very calm, but at this moment he also smiled happily and said, "Ha ha ha, after a year of hard work, it's finally not in vain." Huang Hua and Roger have different family situations. Huang Hua's hometown is not far from Roger's, and his father is also a farmer. However, his mother used to be a migrant-educated youth from Suzhou. Later, she became mentally abnormal because she couldn't bear rural life and couldn't go back to the city. Later, she married his father who was not very good at legs. Huang Hua has been ridiculed since childhood because of his neurotic mother and disabled father. Therefore, he swore from a young age that he must strive for excellence and take care of this family. After graduating from junior high school, Huang Hua went to a vocational school to study cooking. Later, he naturally embarked on the path of being a chef. Through his own continuous efforts, he gradually built his own reputation, which also accumulated a lot of network resources for him. Therefore, after Rongqing restaurant opened, many customers came from Huang Hua's name. I think. Huang Hua blushed and stuttered, frowning before continuing. Let me go down and stir-fry 2 dishes first. I've been quite busy lately, and we haven't had a drink together for a long time. Today, I happen to take this opportunity to celebrate our business return. Huang Hua paused for a while before answering his own "I want" sentence, but changed the topic directly. Roger looked at his face and vaguely felt in his heart that Huang Hua should have something to say, because usually they both have things to talk about and have never been as hesitant as they are today. Roger was about to ask him, but Huang Hua used an excuse to stir-fry and left upstairs. Roger looked at Huang Hua's hasty departure in confusion and couldn't help but feel a few worries in his heart. Does he want to leave? Roger's worries are not unfounded, because Huang Hua has recently made a new girlfriend named Zhang Yanqin. The girl's hometown is from the mountains in Tingchong, Yunnan. She is currently working as a beautician in a high-end beauty salon in this small county. When he came to see Huang Hua a few days ago, Roger faintly heard them talking about opening their own beauty salon. That girl is about 6 years younger than Huang Hua. It hasn't been many years since she started working at Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com, and she probably doesn't have that much money to open her own beauty salon. Therefore, Roger concluded that the girl should be asking Huang Hua to give her money to open a shop. Roger sighed, tidied up his books and other things, and also got up and went downstairs to the lobby of the restaurant. At this moment, the last on-duty waiter in the restaurant, Xiao Ju, happened to have finished his work. When he saw Roger coming down, he smiled and asked Roger, "Boss, are you going to drink with Mr. Huang again today?" Roger smiled and glanced at Xiao Ju, then nodded and said, "Yes, isn't it almost the end of the year? I really want to meet Mr. Huang and talk to him about whether we can take a few days off for the Chinese New Year this year." "Oh, boss, you're the best boss I've ever met," Xiao Ju exclaimed exaggeratedly. The waiters in the store are mostly from other places. In the early 2000s, the habit of eating New Year's Eve dinner in restaurants had not yet become popular in this small county town. Therefore, the general catering industry started to holiday before the 30th of the Lunar New Year and did not officially start work until the 16th of the Lunar New Year. But there may also be unexpected situations, such as some restaurants not having all holidays and always leaving a few people on duty, which leads to some outsiders being unable to go home. Like Xiaoju, she used to be in the same store as Huang Hua, and their previous boss was like this. While chatting with Xiaoju, Huang Hua came out of the kitchen with vegetables and said, "Xiaoju, you haven't left yet. Why don't we sit down and have some together?" Xiaoju took a walk of her cigarette and ran to the kitchen. In no time, she brought out all the remaining dishes and patted her hands, saying, "You two bosses, eat and drink slowly. When you chat, I won't disturb you anymore. The holiday must be decided tonight. I'll come over tomorrow to listen." With a smile, Xiaoju walked away with a small bag on her shoulder. To speak the truth after drinking. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Roger looked at Xiaoju's departure and jokingly said, "Ah. I'm talking about Chef Huang, Xiaoju. I think she's pretty good. Why didn't you develop with her back then?" Huang Hua stood at the bar, looking at a cabinet of wine and asked, "What do you think we should drink today?" "Mao Tai. Wuliangye. But that's it." Roger stood up from his seat and rubbed, "What's going crazy today? I've been working hard for half a year now, and finally I've turned around and started singing. What's wrong with drinking some good wine?" Huang Hua tiptoed and struggled to take the 2 bottles of Mao Tai liquor from the top of the wine cabinet, which supported the storefront. "Hey, it's dusty on top. Sleeping trough." Roger stared blankly at Huang Hua and said, "Nima, 1 bottle is not enough and you still took 2 bottles. 1 bottle is over 900. Just be stingy. If you can't bear to part with me, it's mine." Huang Hua looked at Roger disdainfully. "Who do you look down on? I'll take care of it." Roger's heart was dripping with blood, but his mouth was still very tough. The Luzhou Laojiao, which usually costs around 60 yuan per bottle for occasional small drinks, suddenly raised the level more than 10 times today. Huang Hua opened the outer packaging of 2 bottles of Maotai and said, "Each person has 1 bottle. Drink it yourself and pour it out." Without caring about Roger, she unscrewed the lid of the Maotai porcelain bottle and poured a full glass of beer with 3 liang of beer. Roger glanced at the slightly yellowish liquid in the glass, and a strong aroma filled the air. Sauce-flavored wine is indeed fragrant. After speaking, he gritted his teeth and twisted open the bottle of Maotai in front of him, filling himself with a glass. "Come on, Mr. Luo. Let's have a toast first. What do you want to do? Get me drunk? Cut it. You're not a woman. You can't sleep with me when you're drunk. Stinky and shameless. I'll tell you, in ancient times you were just a flower-picking thief. Alright, whether to drink or not. If not, I'll do it myself." After Huang Hua finished speaking, she raised her glass and looked up to drink all the wine in it in one gulp. "Nima. You have something to do today." Roger had no choice but to dry all the wine in his glass. "Oh my, this wine is spicy and not as delicious as Luzhou." Roger and Huang Hua have good alcohol tolerance, each with a capacity of about 1 pound, but they usually don't drink much. They can drink a 500 milliliters bottle of Luzhou for 2 to 3 hours each. It's really rare to drink 3 liang of fast liquor like today. Roger took out a packet of Chinese liquor from his pocket, handed one to Huang Hua, and then nodded on his own, saying, "I drank Maotai today, and I have to pack this hospitality cigarette. This is just right. I'm tired like my grandson every day. Today, we can also be a grandpa." Huang Hua chuckled, "Come on, have another drink. Damn it, you can drink it yourself. I'm all hooked. Take a bird's head. You can pretend." Huang Hua looked disdainfully at Roger, picked up his glass and took a deep sip. He put down his glass and sighed, lit his cigarette, and then said, "Why don't you drink more? Is it so shameless? Your grandfather." Roger cursed softly and leaned his mouth against the glass to take a sip. "I drank it, haha. Hee hee. I don't care about you, haha. Even if I end it, you have to end it. Don't think about cheating or playing tricks with me. You're such a beast." Roger sighed, picked up his glass and took a deep sip. He put down his glass and pretended not to care, asking, "Tell me, what's going on?" Cough cough. "What can I do? Let's have a good drink today." Huang Hua smoked and said with a slightly dull expression in his eyes, "Let's have some food and see if my skills have improved. Isn't Chef Huang's move like a fairy farting? Grass, speak well." "Ha ha ha, of course it's a different response." The two of them burst out laughing at the same time, raised their glasses and drank the second one. "Oh, I'm asking you, why didn't you get along with Xiaoju back then?" Roger looked at Huang Hua with a hazy expression in his eyes and asked, "How do you know we haven't been together before?" Huang Hua took a puff of smoke and a hint of mystery and melancholy appeared on her face. "I didn't see it, Lao Huang." Roger's eyes showed a hint of admiration. "Let's talk about it." Huang Hua didn't pay any attention to Roger and picked up a piece of peanuts, which tasted quite delicious. "As for yourself, you're not young anymore. When are you going to find a girlfriend?" Huang Hua asked Roger. "Me? Don't talk anymore, just like me, I don't expect to find it now," Roger replied with self-deprecation. "There are several local girls in the beauty salon who are pretty good. Would you like to introduce one to you?" "Forget it, there's no interest." Roger refused without hesitation, these little girls are all too realistic. They only interact with wealthy women all day long, and their consumption concepts have been biased. I'm not a big boss and can't afford to support them. The beauty salon that Huang Hua is talking about is the nationwide chain of super advanced women's beauty salons where his girlfriend Zhang Yanqin is located. It is said that a regular care package costs thousands, and luxury packages usually start at tens of thousands. In the 2000s, with a salary of only 1,000 yuan, of course, those who could afford to spend were all wealthy women. The girls who work inside are constantly in contact with these wealthy women, so their entire consumption concept has already been subtly influenced and deviated. Previously, Huang Hua's girlfriend brought a little girl named Xiaoqing over. Xiaoqing also came from a local rural area. After graduating from junior high school, she didn't go to school anymore and went straight to work in the county town. She was nearly 5 or 6 years younger than Roger, but when she spoke up, she was either LV or Chanel. At that time, Roger was so scared that he didn't dare to continue chatting with her. Cut it. Huang Hua sneered at Roger and said, "That little Qing was thinking about you last time. Don't you consider it? She earns more than half a month with just one bag, forget it, I can't support her." The beauty salon industry is very profitable, with high profits. Look at a bottle of skincare lotion, the purchase price is only 50 or 60 yuan. When they put it in that package, it turns into 5 or 601 bottles. Not only do they sell it, but do you think you make money or not? Huang Hua casually said. How did you know? It was all that Zhang Yanqin told you. Yeah, last time I went to pick her up from work, I went to see her. It's really amazing. In a circle like my sister and her, they use 3 or 4 bottles every month. The sister Huang Hua mentioned is actually his cousin. His brother.in.law runs a construction company with assets of around tens of millions, so his sister has become a super VIP customer of that beauty salon. Moreover, Huang Hua's current partner is her sister's exclusive beauty therapist, and their relationship was also introduced by his sister. I want to open a beauty salon. Huang Hua finally spoke out what he wanted to say. Let's work together. Running a restaurant is too tiring. The beauty industry can make a lot of money than that. Roger gave him a non-committal glance and asked, do you understand that industry? I don't understand, but she does, and she also has channels for goods. When we purchase goods ourselves, isn't this profit all in our own hands? Have you ever thought about how much money we need to invest in opening a beauty salon? Just those messy equipment alone will cost a lot of money, right? Roger knows that the one who should have come is still here. Sure enough, both men and women have low IQ during their love life. Showdown. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Huang Hua lowered his head and stared blankly at his glass, whispering, what if I insist on opening a beauty salon? Roger didn't answer him, just picked up his cup and said calmly, if you have already considered it yourself, then I won't stop you either. There was a knocking at the door, and Roger glanced at the glass door of the restaurant and said loudly, come in, the door is not locked. Cluck cluck. A burst of laughter from a woman came from the door, and then Zhang Yanqin, wearing a long white down jacket and light makeup, pushed the door in. She saw the wine glass in front of the two of them and frowned displeasedly, saying, oh, why are you drinking again? Huang Hua, don't you know that your liver is not good? As she entered, a strong and unique fragrance of cosmetics instantly permeated the hotel lobby. I'll go, it's all marinated. Roger muttered softly. What are you talking about? Huang Hua scolded in a low voice of dissatisfaction. Zhang Yanqin sat next to Huang Hua, picked up his wine glass, and said to Roger with a slightly ill expression, come on, Huang Hua's health is not very good. If you want to drink, I will accompany you. Roger chuckled and said to Huang Hua, how come I don't know about your poor health? Then he stood up alone and went to the bar to get a bottle of coconut juice and handed it to Zhang Yanqin. With a smile, he said, women should drink less alcohol. You should drink this instead. Huang Hua took the coconut juice from Roger's hand and placed it in front of Zhang Yanqin. He then took his own glass and said to Roger, come, let's drink ours. Roger frowned and glanced at Huang Hua. Since you're not in good health, don't drink anymore. He gave him another glance, reminding him that Zhang Yanqin was looking at him with murderous eyes. I have considered everything you just said, that's why I wanted to talk to you today. Huang Hua whispered, when this store opens, the initial investment will definitely not be small, but the advantage lies in its fast return on investment. Zhang Yanqin didn't react much to Huang Hua's gaze towards her, and when she heard him say this, she immediately understood that they were talking about opening a beauty salon. So she smiled and said to Roger, Mr. Luo, do you think Huang Hua can't drink at home and is still drinking with you? This shows how sincere we are. Moreover, if you don't trust us when we drive together, I can bring Xiaoqing over. Anyway, she happens to be interested in you too. In the end, it's possible that you've also earned money, and the beautiful wife has found her. Huang Hua looked at Roger with a sincere expression on his face and nodded, saying, come on, brother. Roger let out a bitter smile, and by then Zhang Yanqin had picked up her phone and called Xiaoqing. After a while, she hung up the phone and happily said to Roger, all right, Xiaoqing will come over soon. Look, she really likes you. That. Roger swallowed his saliva. To be honest, Xiaoqing's appearance and temperament are still very good. Although she only graduated from junior high school, her strength lies in her ability to endure hardship and hard work. If Roger could marry her as his wife, it would not be a disadvantage. But how could Huang Hua and the others know Roger's true thoughts? Actually, Roger doesn't have much interest in women yet. What he needs now is to quickly complete his original accumulation and use this money to invest in a food factory. Because in that era, supermarket hypermarkets had already started and business was quite good. Roger had a college classmate who was now doing single-store food procurement in a foreign-funded hypermarket in Nanjing, so what Roger had always wanted to do was to be a supplier for the hypermarket. But Huang Hua's sudden showdown today caught Roger off guard a bit. He had to helplessly say to Huang Hua and the two of them, this matter. Let me think about it again. What else is there to consider? Once this good news spreads, do you know how many people want to grab it? Zhang Yanqin stared at Roger with her already big eyes and said, just talked to a client of mine this afternoon who was still chatting with me while I was taking care of her. She said she was also planning to open a beauty salon. Being a chef is just a young profession, and once you get older, you can't even move that pot and end up doing nothing. Huang Hua continued to advise, so I think we should switch careers early while we're still young. The beauty salon industry is just starting now, and you see, there are more women and fewer men here, and there are also more wealthy women. Once women become rich, don't they just need to take care of themselves? So if we open a beauty salon, business definitely won't have to worry about. Roger couldn't help but laugh at the two of them hanging like a river, but on the surface, he pretended to be very concerned and listened carefully. He also nodded frequently and said, that sounds really good. Huang Huaiwe became more and more excited as he spoke. In the end, he stood up and patted Roger's shoulder, continuing, you can't miss the opportunity, brother. Have you really calculated the investment? Roger asked uncertain, how much do we need to invest in the early stages of opening this store? Well, look, when we open a new store, we don't need a large area at first. A size of 300 to 400 square meters is enough, and we don't need to buy imported beauty beds either. In the early stages, we will replace them with domestic ones. These two types are actually similar, but the price difference is quite large. One imported beauty bed can buy 3 to 4 domestic ones. Zhang Yanqin said confidently to Roger, there are also those beauty equipment, and we can replace them with domestic ones in the early stages. There are also beauty ingredients, essential oils, and so on. Xiaoqing and I can get the goods. Well, Lord Luo, look, I've figured it out. We don't need to open the storefront in a crowded area, but we must find a place with spacious parking spaces. Most wealthy women come by car, so it's inconvenient if there's no parking space. Huang Hua also began to calculate his investment. If it's not in a good market, rent won't be so expensive. Our current store costs 60,000 yuan a year, plus miscellaneous utilities, and at least nearly 200,000 yuan a year. But the beauty salon is different, and we don't need such a large area. Renting this half-sized one costs around 30,000 yuan. With the addition of decoration and equipment, about 400,000 yuan is enough. Roger is a bit speechless. The pre-investment amount is almost the same as the money they have now. Are you sure you're going to the beauty salon? Roger asked again, unsure. Huang Hua picked up his glass and said to Roger, "Come on, let's have a drink first." Roger raised his glass and touched it with him. Huang Hua looked up and drank it dry again, saying, "It's confirmed. If you really don't want to do it, I'll withdraw my shares in this store and earn 200,000 yuan. Roger gave a bitter smile and said, "Okay, why don't we talk about it tomorrow?" "Why tomorrow? Should we make a decision now?" "Wow." Zhang Yanqin urged beside her, "Wait for Xiaoqing to come later, let's go first. Then you can talk to her alone and see if we're all telling the truth." After saying that, she didn't forget to show a meaningful smile to Roger. At this point, Roger felt like he was really a bit drunk. Choice. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Roger's nickname is Mr. Luo, because after putting on his glasses, his overall temperament tends to be bookish and lively, rather than the image of a wealthy young man. Looking at the expectant eyes of Huang Hua and Zhang Yanqin in front of him, he silently picked up his glass, drank the Maotai in one gulp, and took out a Chinese cigarette from his cigarette box. He silently lit it and took a big puff. Zhang Yanqin was about to speak when Huang Hua grabbed her hand and shook her head. "Let him think carefully," he said. "Yes, Roger needs to think carefully, but he's not considering whether to invest in opening a beauty salon, but rather how to politely reject them. Roger's personality is a bit cowardly. He never easily offends people, nor does he take the initiative to say no, but his temper has always been very stubborn, and the things he believes in will never change in any way. Otherwise, he wouldn't have secretly mortgaged his house to open this restaurant despite strong opposition from his parents, relatives, and friends. His temper also led to his repeated setbacks in the retail industry later on. Others can be promoted by one level in just 1 year, but he has been using it for 3 years, and then 3 years later. Just like the line from the movie Infernal Affairs. It was not until many years later that he realized how to start playing a good hand poorly that he finally made a summary. A cigarette was about to be finished, and Huang Hua and Zhang Yanqin were no longer in a hurry by his side, starting to tease recklessly. "I'll go, I can't stand the two of you. I can't stand going home, taking a shower, hiding under the covers, and playing slowly." Roger rolled his eyes helplessly. The sound of knocking on the glass door came again. "Oh, Xiaoqing is here." Zhang Yanqin ran over happily and opened the door. "Look, someone will be with you soon. Aren't your eyes hot this time?" Xiaoqing's surname is Shen, and her full name is Shen Xiaoqing. Today, she is wearing a completely black professional attire, with a black suit and white shirt on her upper body, a knee-long black suit skirt on her lower body, black stockings and a pair of black high heels under her, and a long black down jacket on the outside. She also carries a Chanel handbag in her hand. After entering the door, she put down her small handbag, took off the long down jacket, and sat directly next to Roger. Roger's nose also instantly smelled a scent of shower gel from her body, which caused a ripple in his previously calm heart out of thin air. Without a doubt, Xiaoqing is a very beautiful woman, not only with a good figure, but also with a fair and unnatural face. Especially when she shook her head, the slightly curled long hair brushed over Roger's face, and the scent of shampoo mixed with it made Roger start to lose control. "I'll go, Xiaoqing. You're really getting more and more beautiful." Huang Hua stared at Xiaoqing with drunken eyes and joked. "Hello, Brother Huang, did you bully Brother Luo again today?" Xiaoqing glanced at Huang Hua and then said in dissatisfaction. "Oh my, when will Lord Luo become yours?" how could I not know that? Huang Hua stared at Roger and Xiaoqing with malicious intent, continuing to joke. Roger stood up and handed a new set of bowls and chopsticks to Xiaoqing. He then went to the bar to get a bottle of fresh milk and placed it in front of Xiaoqing. And Xiaoqing also generously took it all over. During this time, Roger accidentally touched her little hand, and a chill instantly came, which also made Roger's originally slightly drunk head somewhat clear. Oh. Look at this considerate way, I'm getting jealous of it. Zhang Yanqing joined the ranks of teasing at this moment. Women are really an invisible creature. The season is already deep winter, and the weather outside is already freezing. Although Xiaoqing only wears these clothes, she can't see how cold she is at all, except for her hands. A few people joked for a while again, and the clock above the bar began to ring the time again. It was already 23 o'clock, almost midnight. Huang Hua and Roger poured all the wine from the bottle into their glasses again. Roger raised his glass and said, "Come on, to be honest, the wine can't stop. Let's continue." Xiaoqing snatched the cup from Roger's hand and said, "I'll drink it for Luo Gu. You must have bullied him just now. Look at his face turning red while Huang Gu is fine." In the surprised eyes of everyone, Xiaoqing took a sip and drank all the wine in Roger's glass. Roger was surprised by Xiaoqing's alcohol tolerance, while Huang Hua and Zhang Yanqing were surprised that she was actually holding Roger's glass and drinking the wine directly. This action made him and Zhang Yanqing a bit imaginative. After drinking a glass of wine, a blush appeared on Xiaoqing's originally fair and tender face. "Wow, Xiaoqing, your alcohol tolerance is so good." Roger looked at Xiaoqing and couldn't help but sigh. Scratch. Huang Hua suddenly stood up and blinked eerily at Roger, saying, "This is not possible. Your wine was drunk by Xiaoqing, so you still owe me 3 liang." He then ran to the bar and took out a bottle of Wuliangye hidden in the cabinet. "I'll go, you're just amazing." Roger looked at Huang Hua in surprise and said, "The value of this bottle of Wuliangye may not be as good as Mao Tai at zhaoshuyuan.com, but its significance is far more profound than those 2 bottles of Mao Tai. Because this bottle of wine was sent by Huang Hua's master when they opened the restaurant, it symbolizes the abundant harvest and abundant financial resources of this restaurant. It's rare for Xiaoqing to sit down and drink together. What else can I bear to part with?" Huang Hua said arrogantly, "Ha ha ha, and seeing that my brother's life is also settled, I'm happy tonight, ha ha ha. Tonight we'll have a big drink, maybe we'll make you too." Zhang Yanqing also understood Huang Hua's meaning, so she agreed with ambiguous eyes beside her. Xiaoqing's face turned even redder when they said it, but Roger was now on pins and needles because he knew that Huang Hua and Zhang Yanqing were using Xiaoqing to force him into the palace. At this moment, Roger's mood was like sitting on a big ship amidst the waves, fluctuating with the waves. It is obvious that if he agrees now, then he and Xiaoqing may have a direct wedding tonight, but if he doesn't agree, then it must be another world. Roger glanced at Xiaoqing beside him, who was also looking at him with a dignified expression. Her gaze seemed to be telling him, "Promise them quickly. Promise them, I will be your person tonight." Roger swallowed his saliva secretly and quickly took out a cigarette from his cigarette box. Xiaoqing beside him had already snapped the lighter. Roger leaned forward and lit the cigarette, taking a deep breath. Huang Hua had already opened the bottle of Wuliangye and filled his glass. Xiaoqing took the bottle and poured herself a glass. She looked at Roger affectionately and said, "Brother Luo, I salute you." At this moment, Roger's heart had begun to waver slightly. Break. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Time returns to December 30th, 2022. 40-year-old Roger finished a simple breakfast in the small apartment in Jiading, Shanghai, picked up the backpack that had been with him for almost 10 years, put on his shoes, and left at 8 o'clock in the morning on time. The weather today is very cold, similar to the temperature of that night in 2006. He came out of the apartment elevator and a cold wind hit his face. The property management is really stingy. On such a cold day, the lobby on the first floor doesn't even mention turning on the heating. Roger muttered softly, tightening the collar of his down jacket, putting on a mask, and walking out of the apartment building's door. Arriving at the ground-level parking lot in front of the apartment building, Roger found his white Jeep Compass. Entering the car, he habitually started the car first. As soon as the dashboard lit up, the tire pressure monitoring light also lit up. Roger glanced casually, fastened his seatbelt, pushed the gear to D, turned the steering wheel, and slowly drove the car towards the exit. After leaving the parking lot, the car turns right and directly onto the main road, passing through 6 traffic light intersections, and then turns right to directly enter the Shanghai Ring Expressway. Because his license plate is Jiangsu license plate, he cannot enter the inner ring of Shanghai, which also increases his daily commuting time by about 20 minutes. After getting on the highway around the city, he habitually turned on the radio, and inside came cheerful broadcasts and beautiful music from male and female hosts. Roger listened to the cheerful program on the radio, and his face showed the purest smile of his day. After so many years, he only had this innocence when he was alone or facing his wife and children. Whether it was his work or social life, he needed to wear a hypocritical mask to face it. For what happened on that cold night more than a decade ago, Roger still feels grateful for his choice. He didn't agree to go to the beauty salon with Huang Hua just because his brain was hot. Of course, Huang Hua's ultimate result is also a financial and personal waste. At that time, after drinking the glass of Wuliangya, Roger ultimately refused the proposal to go to the beauty salon with them. Huang Hua and Zhang Yanqin, with an ugly expression, shook hands with Xiaoqing and left. But when Roger returned home, Xiaoqing, who was already slightly drunk, came to his residence again, trying to make the final effort. Roger is not a saint, nor is he mentally ill and dislikes women. His first time in Nanjing was already taken away by a financial sister from that restaurant. So, when Xiaoqing came knocking on her door again, he didn't hesitate and let him take the lead. Xiaoqing was also hesitant. That night, the two of them went through all the necessary procedures between a lonely man and a widow at Roger's house. After the passion, looking at the bright red on the bedsheet, Roger's head was a bit confused. He didn't expect that Xiaoqing, who seemed to be elegant, would still be here for the first time. There weren't many bloody plotlines that followed. The next day, Roger gave Huang Hua the 200,000 yuan profit he deserved and the 200,000 yuan investment in the early stage, totaling 400,000 yuan. At that time, Roger only had 58,000 yuan left on him. After paying the employees' salaries and benefits, there was very little left, but in the end, he managed to support the restaurant alone. As for Xiaoqing, after that night, the two secretly dated each other several times, but later with the opening of Huang Hua's beauty salon and Xiaoqing's joining, their interaction became less and less. In the end, this brief relationship ended in nothing. Thinking of this, Roger opened the sunroof of the car to a slit, took out the electronic cigarette, took a deep breath, and the car instantly sent out a faint smell of chemical essence. Arriving at the property inspection post where the store is located, Roger took the phone placed on the frame and opened WX to scan the nucleic acid code at the entrance. When the green nucleic acid code in the system jumped out, he immediately showed it to the security guard at the entrance. The security guard smiled and said, "Luodian, are you working this morning again? The store seems quite busy lately." Roger sneered without hesitation and replied, "It's okay, it's almost Chinese New Year. When will you be on vacation?" As they spoke, the car had already driven towards the underground garage, and this kind of conversation happened almost every day, so it became a daily greeting, and everyone didn't care whether the other person answered or not. Park the car, grab the backpack, and walk all the way out of the underground garage towards the supermarket located on the first floor. As he passed by the bathroom at the entrance of the supermarket, Roger habitually turned in, then went to the spacious mirror in the bathroom, washed his hands, and raised his hand to look at his watch. At this moment, it was exactly 8:55 o'clock. Then, he looked at the mirror and familiarized himself with organizing his hairstyle. After taking a deep breath, he went straight out. As a store manager, Roger not only checks and manages the hygiene and product display in the store every day, which directly affects the shopping experience of customers, but also conducts daily routine checks on the bathrooms inside and outside the supermarket. He mainly checks the Shuyuan website www.jiaoshuyuan.com to see if there are any odors inside and if the hygiene and other conditions have been completely cleaned up. Also, are there any missing tissues, hand sanitizers, etc. that are provided to customers for free on a daily basis, and are the small appliances that are normally configured for phone drying still functioning properly? The customer bathroom he enters every morning is not under supermarket management, but the reason he still enters every day is that if there are any omissions in details, he can detect them immediately and notify the property management personnel to rectify them in a timely manner to avoid causing any inconvenience to customers and affecting the reputation of the store. Roger used to be a careless person, but with the changes in his position and job requirements, his demands have become increasingly high. Some details that he didn't notice before have also become more and more important. Now he even shows signs of mild cleanliness and obsessive-compulsive disorder, especially when it comes to details. His demands and insights have become increasingly detailed. He walked all the way from the supermarket entrance to the employee passage at the back, holding his phone in his hand. Whenever he found any hygiene or safety issues, he would immediately take photos with his phone and send them directly to the DD workgroup in the store. Then, he would directly at the relevant personnel in the workgroup to solve them in a timely manner. In such a high-speed and developed era of online media, he never allows any customers or outsiders to discover problems before him, and then arrogantly post on any social media to smear his achievements. DD is also a product of the era that drives efficient work. Compared to WX, its function is more suitable for office work because you can monitor whether any subordinate has read information at any time, and whether they have replied and executed it in the first time. This is Roger's current working state, rigorous to the point of meticulousness. Sheshe. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. All the way from the parking lot to the employee passage at the back door of the supermarket, the employee passage is already filled with employees and supervisors waiting to clock in. Roger frowned and looked at the scene before him, then took out his phone and took a photo of the scene and sent it to the store's DD management group. At store's HRG. During the last review meeting, I clearly stated that employees should come to the store to swipe their cards to work 5 or 10 minutes in advance to avoid clocking in again. Why is it still like this now? Today, you need to report the progress of this work to me in person. After sending the message instantly became red, indicating that the @HRG had read the message in the first place. In no time, the HRG replied in the group with 2 words. Received. Roger put down his phone and continued walking towards the office. At this moment, the large office outside had not even turned on the lights, and the small office inside was pitch black. Roger's brow, which he had finally let go of, furrowed again in an instant. He walked through the large office on the outside to the manager's office on the inside, turned on the light, put down his backpack, and sat heavily on the chair. At this moment, HRG's thick soprano came from outside the office. Which department are you all from? Who is your supervisor? Have you all read the notice issued by HR yesterday? The notice clearly states that all employees are required to clock in at the store 10 minutes in advance. Why are you still clocking in here today? The photos have already been taken by the store manager today, and I will send them to the supervisor group later for your supervisors to recognize one by one. All identified employees will have their performance reduced by 0.1 this month. Roger sat on the chair, rubbed his brows, picked up his phone, and sent another message in the department-level management group of the store. Everyone, remind me again. Today, the headquarters boss is coming to inspect the store, and all departments and positions need to be prepared to ensure safety. Then he had everyone. As soon as he put down his phone, footsteps came from the door. In no time, HRG poked his head and knocked on the door. Come in. Luodian, yesterday our headquarters Human Resources Department said in the group that the new store manager will be on duty today. Do we need to prepare anything? HRG asked uncertain, or do we just pick a tiramisu cake from the bakery and put it in the large conference room? After the new store manager arrives, let's have a welcome party together. The HRG standing in front of Roger is called Qin Zhen. She is about 367 years old, standing at a height of 1.6 meters. She is married and has children, and is a local from Shanghai. She joined Elephant about the same time as Roger. The two of them have gone through many preliminary tasks such as opening a store and recruiting, so their relationship has always been quite good. Well, if you see it done by yourself, don't ask me about this kind of thing, Roger said helplessly as he glanced at Qin Zhen. Hee, isn't that what you're still on stage? It wouldn't be wrong to tell you in advance about things that require money. Qin Zhen replied cunningly. Roger patted his head and said, come on, after today I'll still be on the sidelines. By the way, you guys should treat me better in the future. Qin Zhen immediately said with some indignation, you said you are already the acting store manager. Isn't it enough for the headquarters to directly promote you? How could they send another store manager? I'm not capable enough. Besides, you HRGs are all known as political commissioners. You are all a group of immortal figures who can conquer the world and enter the earth. Have you not received any news? Or do you not want to tell me when you have news? Roger asked with a hint of cunning in his eyes, looking at Qin Zhen with a smile on his face. Hee, don't wrongly accuse me. I'm just a fart in their circle. Just tell me, what I know is that you don't know. Moreover, those capable people who can penetrate the sky and the earth are all staying at the headquarters. They have nothing to do all day long, and they are hollowing out their heads thinking about how to dig holes for others. I'm just like you, skinned and working hard at the bottom. After saying that, Qin Zhen even took out her little finger and gestured in front of Roger. Hee. All right. Hurry up and arrange it, your boss will also come later. I also need to hurry up and patrol the site. If those beasts come in quietly from the front door and catch a problem, it will be a chaotic shooting, and then they will be sent to the headquarters group, then it will be useless again. Roger finished his conversation with Qin Zhen. As for the employee queue to clock in this morning, it is just to prevent headquarters people from writing about it after seeing it. In fact, Qin Zhen does not need to explain anything to him. Of course, Qin Zhen will also take screenshots of his conversation in the DD group and send them to their HRG exclusive group to report to her boss, Roger's immediate supervisor, the regional general manager's HRG. Roger didn't take out the laptop from his bag, but instead changed into the store's work jacket and down vest in the office and walked directly to the sales area in the front yard of the supermarket. Here we need to talk about the HR department, also known as the Human Resources Department. In other ordinary companies, the main job characteristics of this department should still be a service-oriented department that focuses on human resources work. Its main job content should be selection, use, education, retention, and lubrication. Their job characteristics should also mainly focus on recruitment, training, employee relations, salary and benefits, performance evaluation, and human resource planning. But in addition to the above points, the HRG position at Lilly Group also has the power to impeach, monitor, and interrogate. Please note that the question mentioned here is not a so-called performance interview, but a simple question. So within the group or in society, people jokingly refer to the HRGs of Lilly Group as political commissioners, because their existence in this form can already compete with the organizational departments within the national administrative system. In some special periods, their power may even be higher. So at Elephant, we have always adhered to the HRG culture of the group headquarters, equipping every level of manager with an exclusive HRG. Just like the store where Roger is located, Qingjin just now is actually on the same level as him, perhaps even one level higher than him. Because in Qingjin's job responsibilities, one of them is to be responsible for inspecting the store manager, and her reporting object, which is her immediate supervisor, is not the store manager, but the exclusive HRG of Roger's immediate supervisor. So just now Roger jokingly asked her why he didn't get promoted, but instead the headquarters had a new store manager parachuted in. Today, Roger's immediate supervisor, the regional general manager, will also be here. Roger knows that the store's recent performance improvement rate is not very good, so he cannot let other basic work in the store be identified with any major problems. Otherwise, when the time zone manager talks to him, he will definitely start with the old saying. Basic work is not done well, no wonder the performance is not done well. Leave. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. The characteristic of Elephant Y Club is a pure imitation of the Club in the United States. Whether it is the store's style, decoration, or even the selection and structure of products, as well as the display of products, they are all identical. The only difference between the two lies in the advantage of Elephant Freshness. The selection of fresh products. After more than 7 years of development, Elephant Fresh has also gained distinctive sales and breeding experience in live water seafood and aquatic products. So, as an upgraded version of Elephant Fresh, Elephant senior management has long made a decision, and the differential competition between Elephant Y and member stores is focused on fresh products that Elephant has a clear advantage in. Roger originally switched to the position of fresh food manager at a foreign-funded Red Bird supermarket. He worked there for 12 years. These 12 years have also made him an expert-level figure in the operation of fresh food in the national supermarket industry. The senior management of Elephant Y Club also saw his excellent professionalism in fresh produce, which is why they offered him a high salary to recruit him. The combination of the two should have been perfect, but due to the institutional issues of the Elephant itself, Roger felt a bit out of place from the beginning. Foreign-funded Red Bird supermarket has a more humane management approach, just like its values are also very simple and clear. Trust, sharing, progress. In just 6 words, it reflects the group's inclusiveness towards employees and customers. So it can establish itself in China in a very short time. The management of elephants is quite complex, as even simple tasks have to be done in a complex and cumbersome manner. The management process is complex and cumbersome. There are a lot of people in the company who only do PPT presentations but are in a mess, and various complex and useless systems are desperately suppressing frontline employees in the lower level of business positions. But fortunately, the openness on the surface of the elephant is still quite good. So during the more than a year since coming to the elephant, Roger has also provided feedback and solved many problems that exist on the surface through various reports and meetings. At the same time, he is also striving to change himself, trying to fully integrate himself into the almost distorted corporate culture of the elephant. As the saying goes, since you can't change the status quo, then follow the current situation and go with the flow. Just as Roger thought he had already integrated, he suddenly realized that it was because of his previous efforts that he had fallen into another strange vortex. As others say, when you work hard, no one sees you, but when you slack off, there are countless pairs of eyes staring at you. In the strange argument that elephants are both necessary and necessary, the initial diligence has destined him not to stop his diligent footsteps. So, he can't stop anymore now. But precisely because of this, more and more people have reservations about him. Because of his proactive behavior, he has unconsciously touched the cake of many people, and this number is still steadily increasing. In this society of human relationships, Roger, who has not truly grasped the relationship, is destined to be marginalized, so this is also why he has already achieved the position of acting store manager, but ultimately did not get promoted. Today, he still maintains an expectation in his heart, no matter what the outcome is, he hopes to still receive verbal recognition from the leaders. Entering the sales area of the supermarket, the first thing he needs to go to is the fresh produce area that occupies half of the entire store. The performance proportion of meat and poultry has always been the highest in the entire store, and the daily performance output of one department can account for about 15% of the entire store's performance. Of course, this is also related to its entire product structure, such as imported beef, organic pork, and organic poultry, which are the highest cost products in the entire store. Such a luxurious department, its leader and department head are not very luxurious. The manager of meat and poultry is called Sheshe, who is 40 years old and the same age as Roger. He was originally the warehouse management center of the Elephant Fresh headquarters, but after several operations, he transferred to Y Club to become this manager. It was precisely his arrival that led to the consecutive execution of 4 store managers in this store. Sheshe has 2 classic catchphrases. I am very familiar with the system of elephants, and can operate it with my eyes closed. All the data is only what I don't want, and there is nothing I can't do. 2. I have been working with the current general manager of the membership store for 7 years, and our relationship has always been good. I even know how he and his wife got to know each other. Everyone agrees with his second sentence 30%, because if it's not true, with his abilities, he really can't access the membership store system. As for the rest, almost everyone who has heard of it will just laugh it off. But it is such a person that the 4 previous store managers really left with resentment because of him. But to put it another way, Roger used to find people like Shuyu on www.zhaoshuyuan.com quite well, and now he has even handed over the entire management of fresh produce to him. When Roger found Sheshe, he was furious at the fruit and vegetable supervisor in the fruit and vegetable warehouse and said, "Look at you. I know today that the leader is coming to inspect, but your warehouse is still in a mess. How do you want me to say hello? After work, my brothers are brothers. Especially, you can't keep slacking off for me while I'm at work." The fruit and vegetable supervisor looked aggrieved and said, "I worked overtime until 12 o'clock last night, and the warehouse had already been managed before leaving. So, when I thought about the arrival of goods from the large warehouse in the middle of the night, the logistics department packed everything in for me, regardless of the situation. Don't blame others if you haven't done it yourself, and have the face to talk about logistics. You don't know how to talk to logistics in advance. Or you can come earlier today." Sheshe continued to roar. Roger shook his head, took out his phone, and sent all the problem photos he had just taken in the fresh food area to the fresh food management group of the store. At Sheshe. Old Sue, the above are all photos of fresh food problems. Notify all departments to rectify them as soon as possible. After rectification, take photos and provide feedback in the group. Sheshe's reply speed is quite fast. Roger's message was sent out in less than 10 seconds, and he immediately replied below. Received. Roger sent another private message to Sheshe. Hurry up with the changes. The headquarters leaders will be here soon, and if they find out the problem again, I won't have the face to bring up your promotion application. Sheshe immediately replied. No problem, I will kill anyone who causes trouble for me. Don't worry, I have already agreed with Lao Dadu. Next, I sent Roger a screenshot of his WX chat with the general manager, followed by a winning expression. Roger let out a bitter smile, didn't click on the picture, and went straight to another half-baked goods department outside of fresh produce.